Hello beautiful people, in today's video I'm going to be talking to you about palettes that I have taken with me when I've traveled, either staying overnight or going somewhere during the day where I have to do my makeup over there. I recently discovered that I do my makeup a little bit different when I am, I don't want to say on the road, but when I travel. Now I didn't like fly by a plane, like I was staying with my parents for a little while because the unit above me was getting renovated, as I think I have stated in a previous video. But yeah, the initial round of me going over there consisted of several hand-picked palettes that I brought, which I'm going to share with you in this video. And this other little palette that I curated myself was a palette that I put together for quick, easy, go-to, one-and-done shadows when I was helping my brother out with babysitting. So I would have to leave my house really early in the morning, and I didn't have a lot of time to do my entire makeup here. So what I would do is I would just do my face, like my foundation, blush, highlight, all that stuff, and then I would just do my eyes over there. It saved me a little bit of time. I had more time when I got over there, so it was more relaxed, less chaotic. But in that process, I learned that when I do travel, I do like to do slightly simpler makeup. I don't like to do eye looks like today, where even though today is relatively simple. Anyways, without rambling, I'm going to get right into it. So let's start with the first tiny little palette that I curated on my own. So I just basically took an empty palette. This was the Natasha Denona Holiday palette. I took all of the shades out except for this one here. This one, I like this shade because it's a light color that I can put on my lower lash line just to add a bright pop of color. And these four shades here are actually colors from other palettes that I pulled out. This is the Oxide shade from, is it called Oxide? Sorry, a lot of these are Natasha, all of these are Natasha Denona eyeshadows, by the way. So in the purple blue palette, I took out this color here because I do like that shade for just all over the lid and slightly blended into the crease, and that is the shade Oxide. So I put that in this palette because it's a simple bronzy coppery color that I can just throw on the lid and be like one and done, add some mascara, you're good to go. The second color, because sometimes, you know, you crave different colors during different days of the week, I threw in a copper shade, orangey copper shade, and this one is from the Circle Local palette. This is the shade Cannon. I chose this one because it was a great color and I wanted to use it. And this one here is from the Natasha Denona Gold palette. I forget exactly what shade that is, and my palette is over there and I'm not about to reach for it right now, but it is one of the, I'll put the name on the screen here. But I chose that color from that palette because it was a beautiful gold for the time that I was creating that. And now obviously these are interchangeable, so you know, when the next time I go and visit my brother or go and have to stay somewhere and I need to do my makeup over there, I can interchange these for, you know, whatever color scheme or colors I want to pull from. And of course that one is Lime Chrome from the Natasha Denona Gold palette also. So this actually inspired me to get creative and to actually think about what palettes I would take for what reasons and its purposes, and I guess that's going to be the reason for this video. The next palette that I took with me is this palette here. So this is the Too Faced Just Peachy Mattes, and I mean the reason why I took this is pretty, I don't know, for me it's self-explanatory, but obviously I will explain it because it's a great palette for mattes. So say I took this palette with me and I needed a brown for the crease. Well, you have a light brown, you have a dark brown, you have an even darker brown. Say I wanted to do gold and I wanted like a peach in the crease, you have a variety of peaches, as well as some deeper plum shades if you want to go that route, as well as two lighter colors for like brow bone or like brightening up the inner corner, even though I use a shimmer all the time. So I thought this was a great palette to pack with me just because it gave the versatility for the different matte transitions if I so chose that. Also, if I wanted just a straight up matte look on the eyelid, this palette also has great depth for that, for like mid-tone range. Like any of these colors would look amazing just in the crease as a wash all over the lid if you're going for a simple, more natural makeup look. So that is why I chose the Too Faced Just Peachy palette. Even though it's rather old, it still actually smells like peaches, which is great, and I do still really enjoy this palette. For the next palette that I brought is the only Pat McGrath palette that I brought with me, and it is the nope, this is not Bronze Seduction, this is Divine Rose number 2. And this palette is one of my summer go-to staples for the reason being that it has so many like one and done shades in it. Like that color is amazing for the inner corner here that I like to do. Brow bone, also just like a light wash over the lid. This one is a great transition color as well, all over the lid too. Same with all of these, like all those are beautiful just on the lid. Like it's a great one and done palette for me, I find. Surprisingly enough, I don't really go into that shade a whole heck of a lot, but I love all the other shades. If I want like a light wash of pink and I want it to be like more sophisticated, not like bold in your face like some of the other neon pinks I have, I can go for that one. But I find this really complements tan skin. It complements my hair when it's like peachy color, even blonde. Like this, I just love this palette. It just, every time I reach for it, I find that my looks, I like the way my makeup looks on that day. So this is a palette that I do reach for quite often, whether it's summertime or just, you know, like I said, bringing it for a one and done palette for when I'm traveling. The next palette that I brought that I actually didn't use, actually did I? No, I think I used it once. Yeah, once. Because I mean, it's not too often that I go for cool neutral looks, but I mean, I do pull from this palette for like random shades. Like I like that sparkly, what is that, taupe? As well as the gold here. So I brought this one and I used it. I didn't use this for an entire look, but I pulled different shadows from it for other looks. I really like the pinks, and then that inner corner highlight there. If I'm just doing like eyeliner and mascara and I just want like a beautiful like pop of something sparkly on the eyelid, I will put that all over the eyelid. So this is the next palette that I chose to bring. The next one after that is from Huda Beauty and is the Rose Gold Remastered palette. And the reason why I chose this palette was because it has pretty much everything I would need to create a fun look. Like it has your mattes down here for, like, I love the shade Demure for the crease. Like it just has a variety. It has a darker brown, it has black, it has fun shades up here like the pink diamond and the rose gold and the gold up here. So I actually brought this to my brother's a couple different times, and I've actually used it because it's an easy palette just to throw it on the crease, throw something on the eyelid, and you're good to go. You have a beautiful look. I do bring a couple extra highlight shades with me, but I'll get into those at the end. But for a palette that is like a go-to for a look, I do like this because I need to have my sparkle and my little pizzazz in my makeup every day, like just the way I am. So this was a great palette for that as well. The next palette that I brought with me when I went to my parents' place during the first round of, I mean, some of my palettes ended up over there anyways just because I needed some more color, I needed some more choice. But in the first round of like a single bag that I just needed to like get over there and chose, this palette was one of the palettes that I picked, simply for the fact that I love all the shimmer colors and topper. I actually have this one on my lid. I have Gravity in the crease blended out, and then I have the shade Firefly on the inner corner here. I have something else for the lower lash line. That's on the lower lash line, but I have a different shimmer for the inner corner. And I also have Firefly on the inner corner right there. But this is a beautiful palette for whether you want to just do like a neutral, which is not too often, but sometimes I do. That purple is also nice, but I basically brought this so I could add some shimmer into my... How do I say that? So I wanted to add some, I wanted a variety of shimmer, but I didn't want to pack like all of my individual palettes with like special shimmers in it, like all my Pat McGrath palettes. So I thought this was a good way to bring that over with me. The next palette is the bronze palette because it's summertime and I'm loving the warm bronzy tones. So I brought this with me. I do love the shade Gloaming, the shade Bliss is Beautiful Palladium, High Degree. I love that in the summertime. I also think this is full of like a lot of like mid-tone one and done shadows, like a lot of the ones on the bottom row. You can just throw them on the eyelid, blend them out a little bit with another little bit of a color, and you have a whole look right there. It also has like the darker color to intensify a look if you want to do that. And I also like the variety of golds that it has. So if I wanted a gold look or a bronzy look with, you know, various undertones, warm, slightly pink, palladium. Yeah, I love this palette for summertime. And if I'm craving a bronzy look, one and done palette. And by one and done, I mean one and done for me because I do pull in separate brow bone and inner corner highlights. So for me, a one and done palette is kind of like simple wash of color all over the lid, one transition color, you're done. So for me, that's one and done. I know everyone's one and done is different, because some people's one and done, you need to have an eyebrow, a brow bone highlight, inner corner highlight, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so the Circle Local palette, this is the one I pulled Canon from. It goes right in the little mini spot. I didn't put it back yet because I was waiting to film this video. But yeah, I did pull this palette with me because it's full of color, and if I need a pop of blue or a pop of purple or a pop of shimmery, purpley, metallic goodness, this is it. This is what I pulled for. I used that color several times. What else did I use? Did I use anything else in here? Oh, yeah, and I used firework for the Canon shade ones. But yeah, so that's why I brought this one, because it's a whole palette of color. Can't go wrong. Okay, so that is it for the first round of palettes that I brought with me when I made the first initial trip over to my parents' place. I also included my 2 little curated MAC palettes. These are like everyday staples for me. I use them for brow bone highlight. I use them to add a little bit of shimmer into the crease when I need something to be blended more. I use them to add into the inner corner to help blend my looks out. I don't remember exactly what each shade is. I guess I can pull them out. So the first one I brought with me is, so Arena is the one. This one here is, this might be a mistake, All That Glitters. This one here is Naked Lunch. And the one at the top is from Makeup Geek, and it's called I'm Peachless. I love that. That's actually what I have on the inner corner down here. I feel like peach complements a lot of different looks. And then for this one here, this brulee that I use for my brow bone highlight, I have Dazzle Light that I put on the inner corner here with cooler toned makeup looks. And then these two here I don't really use that often. I think one's Floof and one's Shroom, but they're hard to pull out because the pan is not indented, so it's not easy to come out. But those are the 2 palettes that I bring with me when I need to add a pop of highlight or a different brow bone shade that I can add to any palette I want. Now the next little handful of palettes is the palettes that I brought over when I wanted some more variety and some more color. And the first 2 are my Norvina palette collection. So the ABH Volume 2, which is full of blues and just beautiful pops of green if I wanted it, another gold there. So I brought this, ended up bringing this one over with me as well as the Volume 1. I love this one for different purples. I actually did, fun fact, for the first time ever, like I was at my brother's place and I just had my little mirror and I had my little makeup bag here, and I pulled this palette out and I just started playing with color. And for the first time I was shocked. I think I even texted my mom and said I made a bold, bright eye color look and I wasn't even at home. Usually I save the bold, bright, colorful looks for when I'm here just because, you know, I have the proper lighting, I'm sitting on a chair, I have my mirror in front of me, like I have all my things here. But yeah, I pulled out this and I pulled out my Circle Local palette and I started playing with the purples and the blues, and I didn't take a picture of the look, unfortunately, to post here, but I was impressed at how the look turned out. So yeah, this palette's travel friendly. I love playing with it. And then the other couple palettes that eventually made its way over as well was the Natasha Denona Sunrise palette. I use this for the pinks and the pops of yellow and also the lighter shimmery colors here that I love so much. As well as the Natasha Denona Metropolis palette. I love the mid-tone different colors that you get in this palette. You get a really warm brown. You get this khaki brown as well as this dirtier olive green. Did I say brown? Yeah, they're kind of browns. And then this green here is amazing for doing a green eye, like adding something else to it. I think I use that in conjunction with the Natasha Denona, what is it called again? Zendo palette. I used that palette too mostly while I was over there because I had just got it and I needed to film videos for it, so I was playing with that quite a bit. But yeah, this palette made its way over there. It also has different variations of coppers and golds. It's got a lot of variety. And then, of course, my Natasha Denona Tropic palette. There's a lot of Natasha Denona palettes that made its way over. I mean, I feel like my collection, I have a lot of variety, but I have a lot of Natasha Denona eyeshadows that I go to on a daily basis. That limoncello color, I loved that purple color, so I brought that over because of that. Same with that color. It also has some browns and some neutrals. Even though the Just Peachy palette covers pretty much all of these neutrals in here, like you get the same vibe, I still brought it over for just the different colors at the bottom here that I wanted to. I just started grabbing random palettes because I missed them. I really did. Maybe I should do a video on the palettes that I left behind and I didn't miss. That could be a video. As well as I did end up bringing this one over too, the purple blue palette. I think I used this, yeah, I used this once or twice to pull from the different greens in here, as well as a couple of the purples here. So yeah, and I can put back my oxide shade there as well now that I've filmed this video. But yeah, that is it for the palettes that I brought over. I did bring over all my Natasha Denona minis, Mini Love, Mini Retro, Mini Gold, and Lila, but I didn't even use them. Not that I don't like the palettes, but I was too consumed with using different colors from all the other palettes that I didn't have time. But I brought them. They still made it to the trip, but I didn't use them, so maybe next time I just won't bring them. But of course, if I don't bring them, that's when I'm going to want to use them. It's like that motto, if you better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Not that you need to bring any makeup when you travel with you, because technically we don't need makeup. But anyways, alright guys, that is the video of palettes that I brought with me when I traveled. I need to think of a title for this because that's a mouthful. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and have a great rest of your day. Bye!